What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here today, and today I'm here to talk about the 2013-14 Chicago Blackhawks. Forgive me if I sound a little stuffed up or I just don't sound the 100%. I woke up with a little bit of the stuffed up nose. I'm fine, but anyway, the only reason I'd really be stuffed up is by looking back at this year. I would say, as a Blackhawks fan, 2011 was bad. This was worse. Looking back when the Hawks won in 10, 13, and 15, if they were so close to winning number 4 in 6 years if this happened. But who knows if they would have won in 2015 then? Who knows how that shapes the timeline? That's a what if for another day, and also for a while back. Anyway, let's get right into this. 2013-14 season, they go 46, 21, and 15 for 107 points. Very good record. Third in Central with 107 points. And this is the year of the realignment, so now there were 7 teams in the divisions. And there were 8 teams in each East Division, the Metropolitan and the Atlantic, and there were 7 in the Pacific and Central because neither Seattle nor Vegas is here yet, not until 2017-18, which Vegas comes in. So yeah, they're third in the Central, 5th in the West. So there were 2 teams in the Pacific also better than them. 7th in the league, so that just shows how good the West was back then. The West dominated for the better part from 2009 to about, I'd say, 2015. That was all West dominated. And then their coach was Joel Quenneville, captain Jonathan Toews, the usual. Goals for was first, so they had the best offense in the league with 267 goals. Their goals against was 13th, so not as good with 220. And their leading scorer was Patrick Sharp, surprisingly not Taser Kane, with 34 goals, 44 assists, 78 points. So really good season for Sharp. This is definitely one of the high points in his career. Their best goalie, Corey Crawford, went 32, 16, and 10. Pretty good. In the playoffs, this is why I saved this for last. They beat the Blues in 6, and this is when they came off, I think it was like back-to-back overtime losses in Game 1 and 2. Game 1 they lost in triple overtime. Game 2 they lost in a single, or maybe they lost in the last few minutes, I don't remember. But I remember thinking, okay, this series is already going to be over, because at this point, I'm 10 years old. I know what's going on. Well, I'm not 10 years old. Yeah, I'm actually 9 because my birthday was after the next. So, yeah, I was 9 years old, so I know what the whole idea is, and I know what's going on. So, St. Louis, they beat in 6. They win the next 4, including 2 in dramatic fashion. They tied the series with Patrick Kane game winner in overtime. They take hold of the series in St. Louis with the Jonathan Toews overtime winner. And that was the year the Blues got Ryan Miller because Buffalo was decided to rebuild. And so they had him for a season, so that was a big thing going on at that time. They play Minnesota for the second year in a row, this time in the second round, where they win in 6. They win this series on a Patrick Kane overtime goal in Game 6. And, yeah, Minnesota's never been too much of a problem in Chicago. I say that. The North Stars were a huge problem to Chicago. The Wild. Their Hawks are 3-0 against them in the playoffs. And then they rematch LA in the Western Conference Final. They win Game 1. Fantastic game. Dominated. Game 2, 3, 4. They lose every single one of them. I'm thinking, oh no, they're going to do what they did to us. They're going to win in 5 because we beat them in 5 last year. Then the Hawks fight back. They win Game 5 at home in double overtime from Michael Handzus. They win Game 6. And I'm thinking, if they can pull this off again, because at this time, the Rangers Montreal series, it was already over, so I knew that the Hawks would be playing the Rangers in the final, and the Rangers are the wild card 2 team that year, so I'm thinking the Hawks could win back to back. If they win this, they can win back to back, and then they have a 1-0 lead. They get a 2-0 lead. They lose that lead. Right after they lose that lead, when it's tied, 13 seconds later, Patrick Sharp makes it a 3-2 lead. And guess what? They tie it back up. And guess what? They make it a 4-3 lead. And guess what? They tie it back up in the last 3 minutes. So I'm shredding my hair out. And then Alec Martinez scores the goal, which gives me a forever hatred of LA, of Alec Martinez, and of this season. if the Hawks win, they win the cup. They go back to back. Lundqvist would have not stopped the Hawks. They have the best offense in the league. Lundqvist is a Hall of Famer. He just retired, but the Hawks would have won this cup. And that's another video where I'll talk about the what if scenario. But I definitely think they would have won the cup that year. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys today, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.